Hey, what is up, Los Angeles, and welcome back to your Rams LAFB show. I am your host, Ryan Anderson. We're switching it up now. My
Mhm.
co-host, the mostest, Ryan Dyer joins us. Ryan, how you doing today?
What's up? Good. I had to put you on, we can do this, but I had to put you on the left side of the screen since you're truly hosting now and killing it all week with guests and everything, holding the fort down. So, well done. But yeah, always good. We'll always still be together one or twice a week. So great to be back and talking big game Rams Seahawks. But how are you? Hasn't started raining yet. We're still dry right now. But how you doing?
Yeah, I didn't even see the forecast. I just looked at, that social media site called Nextdoor.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like clouds, but yes, I know next door.
They have a flood warning up, and I was like, "What?" And I guess we're expecting rain for the whole week, so a
Yeah.
little bit different vibe here in LA for sure. But it's Seattle's coming down, bringing the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Big game, rainy Seattle. 2.5 point favorites. The Rams are at home for this big game. I keep saying big game because it's huge.
It is.
I think CBS ranked it as one of the top games remaining left in the season. This is the so-called DVOA Bowl. FTN over there, Aaron Schatz with the DVOA metric. This is the number one team and the number two team in DVOA. So, I mean, just kind of what are your first initial thoughts heading into it? There's lots of storylines. Cooper Kupp, Ernest Jones, Puka Nacua, if you want to throw him in there, a bunch of
Mhm.
former teams. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think my initial thought is, Seattle. I don't know if you think this, but I feel like Seattle's a pretty surprising
Hmm.
top team this year. I think we'll just stick to me and you. I think we thought they were going to be certainly competitive, and a tough divisional game, but I don't think we saw them basically tied for the best record in football. And Sam Darnold, it was going to come down to how he played and if he kind of lived up to what he did in Minnesota and can translate that, and he's done that and then some. And because remember, I mean, Seattle, remember they dished DK Metcalf, they dished Tyler Lockett, they had some other players injuries they dealt with. Obviously, added Cooper Kupp, but just didn't know what the offense would look like, and they've looked fantastic with Darnold and Jaxon Smith-Njigba, and obviously their running pairing of Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. So, really good team. It'll be a really tough battle for the Rams. Um, I do like the Rams matchup, which obviously we'll get throughout the entire episode. But I think just on the surface, it's more just surprising that here we are in November and this is considered one of the best remaining games on the NFL slate. Just because I didn't think they'd be both 7-2 football teams. So good to see, and it's fun when two good division opponents can go head to head. But what are you seeing from it from the bird's eye view?
Well, just kind of bouncing off what you're saying, I mean, I think we're looking at maybe two of the best coaches in the league, which is, we didn't know what Mike Macdonald was going to be necessarily. He obviously put together a decent team last year. But then coming back and making really smart additions to their team. You think about some teams that like win the offseason and then the regular season comes and they just fall apart. Commanders this year
Yeah.
have that vibe. Houston Texans the year before, adding a whole bunch of pass rushers and weight to the team, but not the Seattle Seahawks. Just you mentioned Cooper Kupp already, but on the defensive side. Added Leonard Williams, added Dexter Lawrence, drafted Nick Emenwari, who's kind of surging as an interesting safety prospect, which are super important on a Mike Macdonald defense. So, yeah, I think, early showing is, the combination of Mike Macdonald and Clint Kubiak is serving everybody really well. And then to bounce off your point about Darnold, I just put up an article about his transformation of a guy that under pressure shrivels, and we saw that last year twice against the
Mhm.
Vikings. They mauled him. I mean, he didn't look like himself in the later part of that entire year, and against the Rams, it was a disaster for him. But this year, his numbers against pressure have been phenomenal. His uh his jump is actually pretty historic. Just some of the advanced metrics against pressure are pretty great. So, um, you know,
What do you think? Not to cut you off on your
yeah.
point there, but what do you think attributes to that? I mean, this is just more just us spitballing, but that's such a short period of time to change that. I mean, that's a tough day to go against, changing out your internal clock against pressure, to be horrible at it and all of a sudden make this jump. I mean, is that play calling? Is that Clint Kubiak? Is that just his continued maturation as a quarterback? Like that's a fascinating thing to make that big of a leap. It's not just like becoming more accurate or something. Like, it's a big deal, like changing your metrics against pressure.
Yeah, I mean, one, I think he realized that he had something to prove. I think he came into this year wanting to show that he was a good quarterback. So I'm sure he took steps on his own to improve that. But I imagine the coaching helps as well. I mean, it's not like this is like a run and gun kind of offense. It's there's some developing plays, lots of play action in this as well. Maybe that helps him. Maybe that gets his head cleared by turning his back. Some quarterbacks really can't turn their back to the defense and know where everything is. So maybe that has something to do with it. But whatever worked, whatever did worked, and he's not the same quarterback that he was even just last year. And I mean, you've pointed out that he's still a young man.
Yeah, 27
by quarterback standards. Younger than Stetson Bennett, I believe.
Yeah, we're just a little bit older, but and part of that, sometimes it's with any player, not just quarterback, but sometimes it's a mindset. It's more mental almost, and sometimes that mental change, and this is going to sound very therapist like, but sometimes that change can happen when you truly feel like wanted for whatever reason. Like even last year in Minnesota, confidence is an easier, more sporty way to say it, I guess. But even in Minnesota, he was kind of signed in as like going to be potentially a backup, or would spot start if JJ McCarthy wasn't going to be ready as a rookie that they drafted. Well, then McCarthy goes down and is out for the year, and so he then takes the reins of the starter and obviously does what he does. And then the team said, okay, well, we saw what you did, and we still don't want you. And then Seattle says, okay, we'll give you whatever it was, 3 years. Pretty lucrative I can't remember exact contract figures, but it's 35 million plus a year, I think is what they got him for. So sometimes that's just confidence. Like, okay, these guys really wanted me. I began my proving points last year. Now it's time to elevate to the next level. So I think that certainly has helped in that characteristic. And when you look at this Rams defense, Skinny, going against that, like how they got to Minnesota was that pressure. I mean, they just were eating in the backfield. Like you almost felt bad for him in that playoff game, how much Jared Verse and those guys were just wreaking havoc back there. But if those numbers are much better, do you think the Rams need to change their game plan at all? Or do you think it's still going to be, hey, we made this guy see ghosts twice last year. Like, let's just stick with it. Even though he hasn't played us yet this year. Sure, his numbers are better, but they haven't played the Rams in this past rush. Like, do you think they stick with the same kind of concepts, or maybe dial it back a little bit based on what he's been able to do?
I mean, Chris Shula's been in his bag this year. Excuse me a second.
Yeah.
Really dialing up bizarre pressures, stunts, and simulated pressures. Both. Last I checked, they were like number 1 and number 2 in both stunts and simulated pressures. So and they're playing a ton of dime defense, which is interesting. And with that many DBs on the field, does that muddy it up? Does that turn the defensive backfield into interception kind of haven? And we've seen that, for all that we've crapped on the cornerbacks and the DBs in general, they've elevated their play. I mean, everybody from Emmanuel Forbes and Darius Williams, Kobe Durant making plays last week as well. So I think that it still has to start with pressure. You saw last week with the 49ers unable to get any pressure on Matthew Stafford, and what that meant. Well, it was 42 points against that team. So, I mean, this is a pressure league. This is pressure. All quarterbacks get worse. So, it's like the old, I think Rich Eisen maybe would say it on Sports Center. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. Nate Tice was talking about how, in terms of, advanced metrics, I think in DVOA specifically, this was the most explosive offense that they've ever recorded since the year 2002, which doesn't include the greatest show on turf, of course, but pretty fun. I mean,
Yeah.
You just got to figure out a way to slow it down, force them to run the ball more, force them to get the running backs involved, and play a much more condensed version of it. But this isn't. I mean, this isn't the Saints with Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. This isn't the 49ers without a number one receiver. This is a complete team. I mean, look, going back, our 30,000 foot view, both of these teams are incredibly healthy. Only a couple of guys on the report for the Rams, as always. Kobe Turner popped up on there. That's kind of an interesting one to keep an eye out. That'll have a big effect on the running game and also some of the pressure. So yeah, I mean, you just gotta try to slow it down. You got to make them be methodical. You got to take away explosives. And this will be the one that will be the true test for these DBs, I think, is, what are they truly? But yeah, pressure up front. And, the pressure numbers over the last couple of weeks have not been as impressive as they were to begin the season. Just a few against a somewhat beat up 49ers offensive line, and even worse against the Saints. It was bizarrely like 6 pressures, I want to say, by PFF. So yeah, I think they got to come in hungry. And again, I'm going to point to Jared Verse and it's like, you want to be a star, you want to be the stud that everybody thinks you are. This is the game. This is your multi-sack game. It just has to be. It really is.
Yeah. 100%. And I think to that point, like, this team, you've said, like, a very complete team. And I think they've proven that overall, and that includes the defense, but just offensively, which obviously is kind of parts of the defense too. But last week against Arizona, they put up 44 points. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have it in front of me, but I think the defense had like 2 touchdowns. But still, that puts him, terrible at math, but, right around the 30-point mark for the offense. Sam Darnold had 170 yards and 1 touchdown. Like, it was not like he had 400 yards passing. I know, because he's on one of my fantasy teams and got like 6 points. I'm like, how in the hell is this team at 44 points? My quarterback has 6 fantasy points. But that just shows that they can do it in a lot of different ways. So Rams are definitely going to have their work cut out for them in that. And then we'll move to the offense. Who do you expect? Do you expect them to have someone follow Jaxon Smith-Njigba? Obviously, he is kind of the straw that stirs the drink on offense. Or will they kind of stick to their sides and quarters, and hey, wherever Seattle moves him, it's going to be that size responsibility, not necessarily a singular player?
Well, he moves inside and out, doesn't he?
Yeah, he kind of goes all over.
Yeah, I mean, that begs the question, what is Roger McCreary on this team? Because that would be a guy, if they're going to set somebody up on him, that might be the kind of the guy you want to go for. I mean, I think you got to switch it up, and you got to see who's keeping up with him. It's probably Emmanuel Forbes. He's probably got the fastest wheels out there. So probably that way. Matches up from a size perspective fairly well. Obviously, if it gets into a man defense situation, you got yourself trouble there, but you're going to find yourself in trouble anyway. With one of the guys that's leading, vote getters for offensive player of the year. So, I mean, either way, and Kubiak was super excited to get Rashid Shaheed involved in there. And we already brought up Cooper Kupp, but interesting Cooper Kupp stat here. He is like 4th in the league in yards after the catch right now. He's got the most in his career other than 2018. He's doing like 7.1 yards after the catch per reception. So
that's pretty crazy.
And then you add in there Elijah Arroyo and AJ Barner, their tight ends, and it's just like full weapons. And the running backs haven't been good, but in theory, they're a decent duo between Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. So, I mean, it should put them in a blender.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, and Cooper Kupp, on the year has 367 yards, 1 touchdown. So not blowing the doors off this year, but as you said, been great after Yak, as he has been for most of his career. But it feels like one of those games, right? Like coming back home to LA against his former team. Like he's been I think throughout the week has been like, yeah, it's another game. Like I think someone asked him like, hey, LA might do like a memorial. And he's like, I'm not dead. Like, kind of just really business-like. But it seems like whenever there's this iconic player returning to their former team, not only do they kind of have this standout game, but it's almost like their current team tries to make them have a stand. Like they're going to pepper Cooper Kupp, I feel like, in this game. Like he might have his most targets of the season just because they're like, we're going to have Coop have a big game back in SoFi. What's your this will be a great transition to sleeper. What's your stat line for Cooper Kupp in this one? Like, do you think he goes off, or do you think the Rams are able to contain him?
I don't think he goes off, but I do think he wants some impact plays. So if we're going to put some money down on it, and Aaron Coscarelli, my co-host for some of the other shows, put this one out there: touchdown for Cooper Kupp in this game. I'd say that's probably a lock right there.
Anytime tutty. Well, that's a great time to talk about our friends over at Sleeper, number one sports app right now. Make sure to download it from the Apple Store or Google Play. Free to download. If you want to play the daily fantasy, which we're going to show you right now, when you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code Rams LAFB. It's all one word, Rams LAFB. You're going to get a match deposit bonus up to $100. So you put in $100, they're going to give you a free $100 to play with. So you're starting there at $200. And right now, any new users get a free $20 entry with no deposit required. So if you want to just test it out first before even putting in a deposit, just go sign up, new account, and you get $20 free. And then you can stack it with that promo code when you do go to deposit, Rams LAFB, for the first time on that first deposit, and then they'll match you up to $100. Can't beat that. So Sleeper, Rams LAFB, tell them the Rams LAFB sent you. All right. So I agree with you, Skinny. We're going to build we're in here, Sleeper app, picking. So how the daily fantasy works, if you don't know, you can stack games, you can stack different sports, but you pick 2 to 8 players and just choose more or less, whatever their specific stat lines, touchdowns, receptions, all that fun stuff. So we could theoretically choose one player from this game, then you could choose a game, choose players from a USC game, then you could go to like the Raiders game, whatever you want to do. But we're going to do all Rams Seahawks as we do every week. I think I'm like 1 for 7 on doing these live pick'ems, Skinnies. So last week I think I sent you the ticket last week. We were so close. I don't remember the miss, but it was an 8-person ticket.
The miss.
Yeah, I think it was an 8-person ticket and we missed only 1. Which you can set things where you get you can miss up to 2 or 3. So okay. Anyway. All right. So I agree with you. Let's get the Cooper Kupp anytime touchdown. There's gotta be one for him there. Yeah. So Cooper Kupp anytime touchdown. Do we want any more anytime touchdowns, or do you want me to go look at yards?
Well, I mean, Davante Adams is a real heater, so I mean, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, as long as he plays, which even though he's not practicing, McVay did say that they expect him to play, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go.
Our miss wasn't from last week; it was from 2 weeks ago. Alvin Kamara anytime TDs.
That's right.
Did not get one, so
that was the one miss.
Yeah,
the one miss. So okay, so we got Kupp and Adams anytime touchdown. Should we do any more? Well, let's just look at what else we got here. What's the passing yards numbers? Pretty close between two quarterbacks. What would be your guess? More or less passing yards for Darnold or Stafford?
I'm going to guess for Stafford, it's over 220.
259.5.
Ooh, okay. It's pretty rich.
Is that too spicy? Do we want to stay away from that one?
Well, we haven't talked about the defense yet, but the Seattle Seahawks defense has been pretty stifling.
Yeah. Ninth total defense, I believe. And they only give up, let's see here, 216 passing yards per game. So it'd be quite the game for Stafford to throw for 260.
I don't like it.
Let's stay away from it. I never like going less. I don't know why, because it just feels dirty putting less for your own team. Like, and then you're rooting.
I don't know a lot about this, but what I have heard is betting the unders is the way to go. Not that this is betting, but in the betting world, they say bet the under.
Yeah, 100%. It's just hard for me to do, like, from a mental and fan
Especially with
perspective.
Stafford, with the way Stafford's playing right now, I could totally see it. I just don't feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah, we'll stay away from it. Darnold is more or less 246.5. That's pretty high too.
Pretty high.
Rams actually defensively only give up 216 passing yards per game. All right, we're going to stay away from the quarterbacks on this one, I think, at least on yards.
Closely matched.
Yeah, so let's stay away from that. Let's see rushing yards. Kyren 55.5. I feel like he could hit over that.
I think they're going to have to lean on him, so I feel good about that.
Yeah, Seattle does. Again, 9th overall defense in football. Only 90.7 rushing yards per game.
But not against Kyren.
Exactly. Crazy to think Atlanta is the 10th ranked defense, and they give up 147 rushing yards. Like, that's quite a jump. Obviously better in the secondary there. So yeah, I'm taking Kyren over more than 55.5. Kenneth Walker is 44.5. Zach Charbonnet is 32.5. I
don't feel good about either.
Yeah, I agree. We'll stay away from those. All right, receiving yards. Puka Nacua, 87.5.
What's his trend been?
Let me see here.
If it was a few weeks ago, I would be like, yeah, heck yeah.
So tell me yards. I don't need. Oh, here we go. He had 64 yards last week, 95 against New Orleans, and only 28 against Baltimore.
Was it just last week?
All his first 5 games, he had 85 plus in every one of those first 5.
And what do they want on this one?
87.5.
I think they're going to go to I don't mind that.
Yeah, I like it too. And especially just because we don't know Davante's, even though he plays, it might be limited. They might just use more red zone targets. We'll go more. I like that. All right, so we got 4 on the ticket. Maybe we do 2 more. I don't know. Do we want to stay? Jaxon Smith-Njigba, they have 104.5 yards.
You want to take the under on that one?
I might actually. What's his? Wow, I did not. I know he's been killing it, but listen to these numbers since week 5 against Tampa Bay: 132, 162, 123, 129, 93.
Wow.
He's only had 3 games under 100 yards receiving.
That's insane.
And all of them, and even those 3, he had 79 plus.
And this was 85?
No, 104.5.
Oh, 104.
If it was 85, I would smash that over.
Take the under. Take the under. Oh,
all right, so we're feeling good about this Rams secondary, huh? All right.
I think it's more of a function of the pass rush.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right. We're at 28.1 multiplier right now. That's great. Let's do like, one more. Terrence Ferguson, 15.5 yards. Can I interest you in a turd Fergie?
Yes. I'll take that one.
More than 15.5 yards?
I'll go into more depth about it, but essentially what I know about this Seattle Seahawks team is they are not good against tight ends. Also have an article up about that.
Well, boom diggity. All right, so
field stretcher. That's one catch for him. He's going to have a 30-yard reception in this game.
All right, so here's the question. Do we do the max play, which means we need all 6 correct to hit? Putting in $5 wins us 306. Ooh. That's beautiful. Or we do the flex. For those who don't know the flex, you can miss 2 out of the 6, and you still, you don't really, I wouldn't say win much. You basically get your money back. And the max you win then when you do the flex under $5 would be $169, which, still nice little payday for a $5, investment. I kind of tasting that max play.
All right.
5 for 300.
All right.
Yeah, you're playing with my money, so might as well.
It's tasty.
All right, it's in. Let's go, Ramley. We need this one.
Okay. Lock it.
And all of them bode well for the Rams. We did under on Njigba, so we're good there.
Yeah.
We did do the one touchdown for Kupp, but all right. So there you go, sleeper, good friends. All right, so go ahead, dive into that more with T Ferg, since we're now going to the offense, talking against this defense. Or maybe you kind of said it all, but essentially just, is this kind of the weak link for the Seattle defense?
It seems to be. I mean, they're one of the worst teams against passes towards tight ends. I mean, I guess that's and not by a small margin either. They're in the bottom 3, and by a significant chunk. They're just not handling them well. Interestingly enough, they have done fairly well against 12 and 13 personnel. The 13 personnel numbers are pretty small sample size, so I imagine they'll get a bigger taste of that. They play primarily a nickel defense, and Nick Amenwari out there, good sized guy, but tough. It's always a tough. I brought up Upton Stout as well. The big talking point about 13 personnel is that it forces teams to get into base defense, and that would be playing sort of left-handed for this Mike Macdonald defense. And anytime you can do that, good things are going to come out of it. And it's but Macdonald is his bag is equally as interesting as McVay's, and he's definitely in it as well this year. So, what are the adjustments in that? Can they play in that world of playing nickel against 3 tight ends? It's a tough one to live in. And Ernest Jones was a little bit banged up, and it some of the rumblings out there is that he's really excited to play in this game against his former team. And he's going to be key in this game, obviously, if he's the only linebacker out there. Pretty good in coverage, not his skill set, but it's the best chance that they have against that personnel set. So yeah, just in terms of tight ends, it's, it'll be interesting to see if any teams can find some solves for this, because, Terrence Ferguson, I've basically stopped talking about him as a tight end just because he has been this team's deep threat without Tutu Atwell on the field. All of his targets are super deep. He leads all tight ends in average depth of target. So I think, there's going to be a Terrence Ferguson element to this game. And, it's kind of like how we talked about Tutu in the past. It's like, just make 2-3 plays every game, deep shots here and there. And that's what we've seen. And I think we're going to continue to see that, but those are huge, impactful plays, set up, touchdowns and scoring drives. So yeah, I think, continuing on that, and I'm curious, Macdonald is one of these scheme guys, and we'll see what happens. And it's going to be super intriguing. I mean, as purely a football fan, as somebody covers the Rams, it's one thing, but just as purely as a football fan, this is going to be, kind of like what's going to happen in the future of the league. It's like going back to when McVay first started coaching this team. It's like, this is the future. This is what's happening right now, and in the future for the league. So, some teams are running 6 offensive linemen. Some teams are turning linemen into pass catchers. So these heavier sets, this heavier personnel is definitely where the league is going. And from a defensive perspective, Minter, who comes from Baltimore, Jesse Minter, who coaches for the Chargers, and Macdonald also comes from Baltimore. So, the future of defense is kind of building out of those 2 areas as well. So, yeah, I mean, did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just nerding out over here at this point.
Well, no, and it's fascinating because that defense on its surface, now obviously it's got a lot of complexities, but on its surface does play typically like a lighter box, doesn't bode great against like heavy run sets. We're seeing this, obviously it's changing, but we're seeing this at USC. Dan Lynn kind of comes from also that Baltimore defense. Obviously he had other stops, but he had a lot of influence from that. And we're seeing, USC early on was really struggling against the run in the Big Ten, which is what Big Ten football is all about. And they've had to make some adjustments and tighten different boxes and whatnot. So it makes this game, I'll say this, Skinny, and rightfully so, I get it. But like, there's always, when you see the coaching matchups, it's always like, oh, McVay versus Shanahan, or McVay versus LaFleur, or even McVay versus McDaniel down in Miami, like these two offensive gurus going against each other. In reality, there's no meat to that, because they're coaching essentially different sides of the ball. You're either the head coach, but they're not going against each other. Like, this is the matchup that's actually the true chess match. Like, both head coaches, but one offensive genius, one defensive genius, and who's going to win that chess match ultimately. So, and who would have thought 3 years ago? Who would have thought 2 years ago we'd be saying like, yeah, the Rams are really successful with 3 tight ends on the field. Like, it's just such a difference of what this offense looks like versus what it was back in the infamous 11 personnel days. So I can't wait to see it. But yeah, I think if they lean into those tight end plays, we'll see a successful game. And we've seen over these 3 weeks, the offense look kind of different in each of these weeks. And they've scored 34 plus points in all 3 of these games. So the offense is really coming to life and doing it in different ways than they have done in the past. It obviously helps when your quarterback is playing at a complete MVP level and gets it done. So yeah, it's just gonna be a fun chess match. And if they don't have to force things to Davante because of him kind of, a little banged up, Puka Nacua, even though he's been a little banged up. So if they really lean tight ends, like you're saying, Skinny, I think we'll see a good outcome for our Rammies.
Yeah. It's a tough one. And I think it's really going to come down, this is going to be a close game. It's going to come down to the margins, like all these games do. Yeah. And, 12 turnovers created by the Seahawks defense, 14 by the Rams. I think that's like, ultimately it's just going to come down to who wins that battle, the turnover battle.
Well, and one Sam Darnold, go ahead.
Stafford has only thrown 2 interceptions. Kyren Williams has had some fumbling problems, but not recently. And then you got Nate Landman. You got Landman, the land shark, punching out every week, it seems like. So, and Emmanuel Forbes has got 2 turnovers. Anyway, you were going to say Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I was just saying Sam Darnold, for how good he's been, he does still throw some turnover-worthy plays. He has 6 picks on the year, which isn't like an astronomical number, but 6 interceptions, obviously 4 more than Stafford. 2 of them came last week in that blowout victory. So as good as he's been, as we said earlier, if you can get that pass rush getting home, he's been much better against it, but it's still going to force some turnover-worthy plays that the Rams can probably capitalize on at least once. Like, I didn't even look, Skinny, if that was on there, but if there was a anytime interception for Darnold, I probably would have taken one of those in this game, because I think they can get one of them. So unless you have any more statistical stuff to get to, give me a score prediction.
Yeah, like I've been saying this whole episode, this is going to be tight. This is going to be a close game. And in that, when I'm put in that position, all the stats and everything I go through, I throw it all out the window, and I just go, which coach, which QB, and it's Stafford and McVay, 9 times out of 10. So I'm gonna go. I'm landing with the Rams. I'm picking the Rammies at home, and I'm gonna say it is a. Should I go barn burner, or should I? I think it's gonna be stuck in the 20s. And I think it's a 1 point win. 24-23, Rams win 1 point.
There you go. All right, Rams get the win, but do not cover the 2.5 point spread. I agree with you. As I said, Seahawks 9th ranked offense, 9th ranked defense. Rams 5th ranked offense, I think 11th ranked defense. So this is a really close game in terms of statistical categories. But home game for the Rams, that bodes a little well. Although you're getting Seattle weather, but it's a pseudo dome, so the players won't get rained on. And yeah, McVay has been in his bag this year. Stafford, obviously, if he's not, it changes all the time, but if he's not yet, like the fact that this guy's not the number 1 MVP candidate is wild to me. But which Skinny did a great video on that a few days ago. You can check out right here on the Rams LAFB YouTube channel. But yeah, I agree with you. I do think the Rams will get a little more points. As good as Seattle's defense has been, I think this is probably one of the best offenses they've faced, because they faced a I think they faced a Tampa Bay team who's been really banged up, so their offense wasn't the exact same. They faced the Niners when they've had all their injuries. They played good teams. I don't think they faced a true juggernaut offense like the Rams have right now. So I will get to, they don't get to 34 like they have the last 3 games, but I'll go 30-27. So also close, but they cover, get the 3-point win, 30-27. What say you to that?
I think you're setting up a beautiful story right here. They're tied.
Oh, I know where you're going with this
game. Thicker kicker comes out and kicks the game winner from, let's say, 50 yards, 52 yards.
A Harrison Mevis 50.
They try to hoist him up on their shoulders, but
not happening. You need the whole offensive line to do that. Too bad we didn't have Kupp, and it could be what?
I'm just kidding. I don't want to fat shame anybody.
I mean,
it's not big boy.
It's not fat shame. It's just realistic. Like, you got to have the offensive line to get that guy out on your shoulders. So it's too bad. Even he's not on the Rams, but he'll be on the field. So it could be like a Mevis and Cuphead type of moment there between the two of them. That joke.
Mevis and
Cuphead, Beavis and Butthead. No, is that?
I'm with you now. Yeah,
okay.
It's funny. I've been trying to make that joke in an article here and there, and I just couldn't make it happen.
Yeah, it's like you need to either have Jake Butt still in the NFL, or I guess Kupp you can run with. There's no other like similar Butt references on the Rams that I can think of off the top of my head, right? No, I don't think so. So we get lucky they play Kupp this week, so you got Cuphead there.
Love it.
All right. Well, there you have it. Rams win this weekend. Sunday, 1:05 kickoff, SoFi Stadium. Skinny's got him 24-23. I've got him winning 30-27. Comment below your thoughts on this game. Do you think they win? Give us a score prediction. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. It helps us out a ton. We appreciate it. And obviously check out all of our Rams coverage over at LAFBnetwork.com. Ryan does a fantastic job getting you covered on everything from injury reports to deep dive analysis to all these statistical things that he talks about on the show. So can't beat that. So check that out. And we appreciate you as always. We'll be back after the game on Sunday, hopefully talking about a Rams victory. For Ryan Anderson, I'm Ryan Darrett. Everyone be well, be safe. Have a great weekend. Stay dry. Have fun, Ramley.